Alright, this is going to be a review of vocab here, slope-intercept form. We've seen this equation a lot now, y equals mx plus b, where m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. So this is an example. This equation is in slope-intercept form, and you can see the m and b values. This is a non-example. This is not in slope-intercept form. A key thing here is that y is not by itself. In order to be in slope-intercept form, it needs to be y equals. You wouldn't have all of this with the y as well. Alright, another vocab term we've had recently is y-intercept. And this is on our quarter 2 Quizlet, this exact definition, the point where the line crosses the y-axis. So a non-example would be like the x-intercept. One thing we've said about the y-intercept is that the x value for the coordinate of the y-intercept is 0. And you can see the example here, right? And so if we're saying that the b value is the y-intercept, so here's our b value for the slope-intercept form, right? If I wanted to write the coordinate of the y-intercept, we're saying how the x value for the coordinate of the y-intercept is 0, so I would write 0, 4, right? And so you can see that in the example there. All right, here's a new vocab word, right? And that's standard form, right? So this equation here is different from the equation here. This is slope-intercept form. This equation is in what we call standard form, right? And to find the intercepts, we're going to plug in 0. So here's an example of standard form. You can see how it's in the same form there. And so we were just saying how for the y-intercept, right, the x value is going to be 0, right? So I'm going to plug in 0 for x here. So if this is 0 and I'm multiplying by 0, right, that's just going to come out to be 0. So I'm just going to have the 4y equal 16. So I'm going to divide both sides by 4 because that's the inverse. Got the two sides of my equation. I have y equals 4. Now, this is the non-example. This is slope-intercept form, right, with our m and b values, right? So we already know that the y-intercept is 4 here. You could do the same thing, though, where you're plugging in 0 for x, right? And if I'm multiplying by 0, this just comes out to be 0. 0 plus 4 is 4, right? For the x-intercept, right, you would plug in 0 for y. So we would have negative 2x plus 4, and I'm going to plug in a 0 for y here. So 4 times 0, right, just comes out to be 0. Right? So I could just simply write this as negative 2x. I got the two sides to my equation here. So if I divide by negative 2, my x-intercept is negative 4. Now, you'll notice that this was the non-example for slope-intercept form, right? You can, if you're given an equation in standard form, you can convert it to slope-intercept form. And we do that by solving for y. Right? As I said, y needs to be by itself here. So I have the two sides of my equation. To do this, I'm going to start by adding a 2x to each side. Right? So I could add this entire term. Right? If I have a negative 2, I'm going to add the opposite. So on this side, I'm just going to be left with the 4y. These are not like terms, right? So we have the 2x, and this is a positive 16 here, right? I'm not going to combine them because they're not like terms. when dividing by the coefficient here, I'm dividing this entire side by 4, which means I'm going to divide both of the numbers by 4. So 2 divided by 4 is 1/2, and 16 divided by 4 is 4. So you can see that this is the same equation in two different forms here. And we found that the y-intercept, right, was 4. Thanks for watching.